Hi, this is Fret Search episode 4. Let's get straight into solving the solutions to last week's problems. So I set the task of both hands for these relatively simple problems. So let's have a look at the right hand first. Now, when you have the bass note followed by 3 notes in the melody, a lot of you will recognise that that is the tremolo pattern, but some of you won't have seen it before. So what it is you play the bass note with P, and the first of the 3 notes with A, second with M, third with I. And that, if I repeat, sounds like this. If I combine that with the melody in the bass, so that's that first bar, right hand fingering sorted. It's worth pointing out that Carcassi may have played it himself, P-I-M-I, but I think for our purposes P-A-M-I is the right way to go. So the second bar is pretty straightforward. P-I-A-I, P-I-A-I, P-I-M-I, P-I-M-I. So hands separately, that sounds like this. And now at speed. So the 2 bars together. Now let's have a look at the left hand. So it's quite clear when you look at the first bar that the A is going to be held down throughout the whole bar. And you've got the open A followed by the C, followed by the F, followed by the E in the melody. But we can't play it like that because that's not legato enough, because you're having to lift 3. So we're going to start with open A in the bass, 3 on the C in the bass, and then we're going to come over with 4 here. And then 1 is squeezed in there. Now it might help you, if before you start the first bar, to prepare by putting down 1 and 2, and that will look like this. And the next bar, notice that the A stays where it is and the first comes over to the F. Now this is the reason I set this problem. If the third comes here to the C and you remain with the 2, you then have an awkward jump to the B. So that doesn't feel good. The other thing you could do is slide the third back and use 4, but that doesn't feel good either. So the solution, as far as I'm concerned, after you've played the C, you bring 1 to the A, freeing up the second finger, and also it means you can just slide 1 back to the G sharp for the next bar, and it'll be fairly easy for 4 to find the D. So slowly I'll play that again. 1 across, 2 on the B, slide the 1 back, 4, and then we're going to end with open and a 3, because it was free, and 1. So I'll play that once more. Now it's worth noting, if you continue onto the next bar that you need 3 on A anyway, so that is actually a perfect fingering. So here's the whole of the 2 bars. Okay, so the solution to the right hand part of the problem is pretty straightforward. If we look at the last 3 crotchets of the bar from the low G, they're all P, I, A, I. It's pretty straightforward. It's only the first one which is different, which is P, I, M, I. So that's pretty easy. The only thing I would say is be very conscious of this movement. Otherwise the fingers won't quite know where they are. So that's just a technical tip there, nothing to do with the fingering. So moving on to the left hand, we're going to have a 4 on the top G, and on the low G we're going to have a 3. So those first 2 crotchets look like this. Difficulty is it's natural to want to play 2 on the F sharp, but you need to follow it with a B and an F, natural. So that becomes awkward because you have to lose the F sharp there. If you play the B with 1, you've not got any fingers left to get the F natural, and could squeeze 3 back like that, which feels a little awkward. So my solution is to take the top G, the 4, and slide it back to the F sharp, which frees up 2 and 1 to play the B and the F, which in turn frees up the 3rd finger to play the C. So the whole of that passage looks like this. Once more at speed. And that's the solution to this week's problem. Okay, so the second problem was much tougher than any that we've tackled up until now. So I'm going to talk you through the solution to this problem. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you what the Segreris book suggests, and then I'm going to explain why I don't follow all of those fingerings. The better you get at doing this, the more you'll want to just start from scratch with all your own fingerings, and I think that's the best thing to do. So yeah, I wouldn't trust, when you get beyond a certain level, I wouldn't trust fingerings in these books. So just use them as a guide. So let's have a look at the problem. Okay, so we'll start with the left hand. So the book in the first 2 bars of this problem suggests 1 open open, 3rd 1 1, 2nd, and then you come back down to 4th, 3rd, and then 2nd. And if you look carefully, you'll notice that fingering there is P M M, which is obviously a misprint. They meant P I M, but it's a good reason to, you know, work out your own fingerings. But apart from that, I would agree with the book for the first 2 bars. And then you have to stretch 3rd and 4th comes on the top of there. Now this is where I differ with the book, because the book says 3-2 for the next bit. Now I can't see why you would be up in 7th position, jump back down to 1st position, when you could be in 7th position and jump down 1 position less to 2-1 and open. So that's the way I do it. Okay. And then up to 7th position again. 4, 3, 1, 2. Now the book suggests a bar from the minute that you've got the 4th finger down. So that would look like this. Bar. Which kind of makes sense, but I think it's easier if there's no bar until you come back down and play the B with the 3rd finger. So that would look like this. So the bar goes on at the same time that you play the 2nd B. Okay, so I'll play that very slowly. No bar. Now the bar goes on. And otherwise it's the same as the book, except for that. So that's the first 2 bars. Let's have a look. Okay, and then open strings, 3rd on the F sharp, 5th string. And I agree with the book here, that's just the same. Using the bar and the 4th finger on the top A. But this is where we're going to differ again, because the book says to jump at that stage, to jump to 3, 2, 1, 1. So a bar on the 10th fret and then a F sharp with the 4th finger. Now that looks like this. I'll play that little section slowly. I mean, it works, it's playable, but at speed I don't think it would be as good as if you did this. So after this you go back to the bar, 7th, 7th with the 1st finger, and then jump to 10th position on the A. So there's 1, 1, 2nd and 1st strings, F sharp, 4th finger. So very slowly that looks like this. Now there's another reason why I think this is a good way to do it, and it's a musical reason. If ever you jump it puts an accent on the note that you're jumping to. It's very difficult to control. So if you shift onto a stronger beat, it won't matter so much if you put that accent on. That's exaggerated. Now listen to this. So it's much easier, I think, to jump to the 10th fret on that stronger beat. So let's look at the last little pattern, the last 2 bars. You have to jump right down to this position, 2nd position, and they're suggesting to stay down there and then jump right up to 9th position. Now I think a better way of doing it would be to shift twice, so, and using the open strings to give you time. So open A, E, open G gives you time to get up to the A on the 7th fret 4th string, 1 on the C sharp, and then another open E giving you time to get up to 4th finger 12th fret G natural. So let's look at that very slowly. Now, after that, the book suggests playing the 4 there, which makes sense, until you have to shift right up to there, 1, 3 to finish off. Now it's the same thing, shifting onto a weak beat. I just find it very awkward. So I'm making mistakes, but now if we could shift onto the strong beat and then use the 3 there and the 4 there. It's a little bit tricky, but I think it's easier than their way. So there's a whole minefield of problems there. I'll just play it through once more for you at a decent speed. And there is a pause on that last note, so give yourself a chance to have a breather before the next section. Now let's have a look at the right hand. Okay, so it's good to look at the right hand once you know what the left hand is doing. And let's go through it again. So we've got P-I-M, P-I-M-A, P-I-M, I-A. So you end with I-A. Then we've got P-I-M, P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A-I. P-I-P-I-M-A. Then you've got M, I, M, I, M, A. And P, I, M, P, I, A, P, I, M, I, M, I. So that all works out nicely if you just play it through. So let's hear it once more at speed. So here's your problems for next week. This is the 5th study of Carcassi, Opus 60. And the first extract, I'd like you to look at the right hand fingering. And the second extract, the left hand fingering. So this is the harder problem for next week, and it's a section of Rigondi's 8th study. It's one of my favourites actually. So see if you can come up with some nice fingerings for this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next Friday.